let us see the database checkpoint. We are also having database checkpoint, which is used to check the database content. Here we are doing the front-end application testing. Like mostly the testing would be related to the user interface testing. Means till now what we are doing, that's what's called functionality testing. We open the application and we do most of the testing part is related to the controls or elements or objects, whatever you say, right? Means whether the objects are displayed correctly or not, whether the object is enabled or disabled, is it visible or not, or else how many items are there in the list box, whether it is it a list box or and one more thing, how the objects are aligned, what is the length of the object, I mean size of the object. All these are the things which most you'll be testing from the point of controls. These are all called controls. And one more thing is, how do you use your test data from your external environment, from Excel files? How do you get the data and how are you going to use the data in the test scenarios? So those are the things we'll be mostly using. So coming to this database checkpoint, here we need to verify the database content. Why to verify the database content? Even we have an example here. Give some username, password. Just create some new order. Enter some values here. Select some fly from value, fly to, and then only flights button enable. Select it. You see the list of all the flights. Select one value from this list. Okay. Now just give some name to this. And then if you click on and also give the number of tickets you want to book. So I just give one. Insert order. When you click on insert order, you see something like 90%, 100% and insert was done. So from the front end, it's okay, insert was done. Insert was done means your data should be saved in the database at the back end. So from the front end part, you have seen your data was inserted, that's fine. But sometimes you need to test whether the data was saved properly in the database or not. That's why I told testers need a little basics of SQL. You need not have an in-depth knowledge of SQL, but just a little bit knowledge, like writing a select query, insert, and a small queries, delete query, that's all. Just a basic knowledge. So now I have inserted, my scenario was done. But if I need to test whether it was saved internally or not, I mean saved backend in the database or not, we can use database checkpoints. Let us see how to use this. Now you need not record anything here. Those are just insert order checkpoint you need to add. Just go to insert menu directly, checkpoint. You have a database checkpoint enabled. When you click that, you see database query wizard and it shows connect to database using ODBC. It's nothing but some drivers which will lead your QTP to connect to the database. So query definition, select the specify SQL statement manually. Manually means I'll write the query now. So say next. Connection string. One connection string is required always to connect your QTP with the database. So here you have a create button. Just say create the connection string. And here there are two types, which is a file data source and machine data source. Here we want a machine data source because we don't have any local database here. And also we need to check the database of flight reservation system. So check the machine data source. And here you can see the different data sources like DBase, Excel, MS Access, Qt Flight. Here when I need to check the insert order functionality, I need to check the database of flight. So select that database because all the data related to the flights will be served into the flight database. Select it and say OK. Now connection string is created. You can see here QDSN something path and all. Now SQL statement. Now you have your QTP was connected to the database. Now you will write the query. I'm just writing select count of star from orders. Count of star from orders. What does this mean? Let me tell you, this orders is nothing but the table name into which your data was stored. Your data was stored into a table which is given by the name orders. When you say select count of star means count of all, everything. Star is a wild character which is having a special meaning, and the meaning is star means all, everything. Select count of star from orders means it will give the number of rows present in that particular table. Number of rows means like imagine an Excel file. Data table is nothing, a table is nothing but like an Excel file where you will be having so many number of rows and so many number of columns which will be saved each time when you store some data, when you insert some order. So whenever you insert some order in the application, in the flight reservation application, at the back end, means in the orders table, the data will be stored. Suppose you stored now one order by number some 21 or whatever it is. So your name, your details, whatever you have entered, everything will be stored in that orders table. So when you say count of star from orders, then the number of rows present in the data table will be given. Means number of orders present in the data table. Let us click this finish. So it is showing you 12 orders. Means there were 12 rows in the database. Means 12 orders were already there in the database. So now say OK. Now see in your code, this is the checkpoint generated. db table of db table dot checkpoint of db table. So how to execute it and how do you know whether the order was inserted correctly or not? So go to resources, object repository, checkpoint, db table. You see number of rows as 12 here. Now, if you do some insert order again, let us insert one more order again. Just now you have inserted order and order number is showing as 13. Done. But now you should know whether this order was inserted at the back end or not. How do you know whether the order was inserted at the back end or not? So now if you execute this checkpoint, this contains expected value as 12 but the actual is 13. If the new order was also inserted properly in the database means your checkpoint should fail. Isn't it? A small logic here. Because here you are giving your expected value as 12. Now you have inserted a new order. So now if you execute this, because the row number has changed, it should be 13. But you are expecting the value to be 12. means your checkpoint should fail. Your checkpoint failed means order was inserted correctly. See here. Right, now go to results document. Checkpoint failed. Just see the differences. Here you have an option, next mismatch. There is only one mismatch, which is the order number. Now go to the compare value. See here, expected is 12, but the actual was 13. Actual 13 means the one which I have just inserted was also inserted in the database. But I have taken expected value as 12 rows. That's why checkpoint failed. Checkpoint failed here means my test scenario passed, means order was inserted at the backend also correctly. Similarly, you can verify even delete order functionality also, like a do one delete order functionality. And suppose your checkpoint fails because now there are 13, right? So now your rows become 12 and you are also expecting 12. So your checkpoint passed means your order was deleted successfully from the database also. A simple logic is there here. That is how you use your database checkpoints. Generally, we'll be writing query in the SQL and checking whether the data was inserted or deleted correctly. Just to know, we should learn these things, database checkpoints and all.